thank all you parents for coming out. It seems like every time we've had a program here this year, the weather's been absolutely terrible. So thank you all for coming out. I know this time of year is a very hectic time. We've got a great program for you today. It's hard to believe we're halfway through the school year. About 5-6 months, these young men and women will be going off to middle school. And while that's an exciting time for us all, we know that the older they get, the more choices they're going to have to make, and we're very proud of our DARE program and preparing them for those choices. Very happy with our partnership with Elizabethtown Police Department and Hardin County Schools. They've done a great job. Before we get started, we have several students who are going to speak today, and if you're like me, you may have had to take a public speaking course in college, which was absolutely terrifying. So I'm extra proud of those students who are going to speak today. They're going to do a great job. And with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to them.
So I'll try to stay right here. You guys knew that I couldn't stay still and stuff. So thank you, parents, for coming out today. Thank you, kids. Mr. Bender for letting me come here. Chief Land's here. He's my chief. Thankful for me come. For letting me teach there. As a police officer, this is my favorite thing to do. I got a chance to do this a couple years ago. You go to the school, you get trained up, but this is the most awesome thing to do. I used to work nighttime shift, and I worked nighttime and get off in the morning, go home, sleep a couple hours, then I had to come teach there, and I was so tired. But once I got to the school and start teaching, it was all worth it. It was fun. I felt great the rest of the day, that night, perfect and stuff. So it's very awesome. But tell you a little bit, parents and stuff, about DARE. It was started back in like 1983 in Los Angeles. The LAPD started a DARE program. They wanted something inside the school. They were seeing that they was having a lot of trouble with the youth and the kids, and they wanted to go talk to them and teach them and stuff. And I'll say this right now, and a lot of times, people say this all the time, that DARE doesn't work, okay? So let me tell you something about what we do. It's just not 9-10 weeks of me coming to the class and talking about drugs and alcohol. In fact, it's nothing like that. Lesson 2, we do talk about a little bit of drugs and alcohol and stuff, but most of the time, it's me talking. We talk about bullying, we talk about stress, life skills, how to deal with stress, what you can do, communication, how to speak. If you want to be the one that's up there, you guys remember what I talked about, the 3 bears, the little small one, like shy and stuff, or remember the one screaming at Miss Mauser, me screaming at the traffic stop or stuff, or the one like right here, confident, speaking like this, confident and stuff. So DARE, and it's also a chance for a police officer to meet these kids. I'm here all the time for other stuff. It's great. This is my favorite school. I'll give you a little secret. I used to teach DARE at all the other ones too, but now I'm at Central Hardin High School. And since I'm there, I can't teach DARE, but I asked permission, and they gave me one school, and I choose GC Burkhead. It's not because it's right next door, just down there, but this is my favorite school. All my kids went to this school. My wife works at this school, Miss Robinson. I just love this school. And plus, it helped that my principal at Central Hardin, his wife works at this school. So he wants me here too and stuff. But I talked about, they say that DARE doesn't work. And I want to tell you right now, it doesn't. Wow. Why I'm up here, why we do all this. All by itself, it doesn't work. For instance, if I want to make a banana split, we all like banana splits, right? Okay, so all I have is a banana. Is that a banana split? No, I don't have nothing. I just have the banana. It takes other stuff. I need to go find some ice cream. Do I need to find some sprinkles? I need to find toppings, chocolate, strawberry, and all that stuff. All that stuff I need to go find to make a banana split. Parents, teachers, it takes all of us to help. I got a story. It's my favorite story. They love my stories, right? Yeah. Okay, so this, you guys probably heard this one. It's not my story. But this fisherman went out and he was out fishing and he found this clam. He opened the clam and it was a pearl. It was beautiful. It was the whitest of white pearls. It sparkled. It was awesome, perfect. It wasn't lopsided. It was the perfect size. Well, he wanted the world to see this pearl. He wasn't going to keep it to himself. So he went and found a guy. He made this awesome box. It was beautiful. He opened up the box. He put it on a blue velvet pillow. It sat right on the top of it. The guy put diamonds. He put emeralds all over the box. It was awesome. And he let everybody come and look at it. Well, all of a sudden, he was there. Everybody was coming and looking at the box. Nobody cared about the pearl. They just looked at the box. That's all that mattered. People wanted to see the box. And he's like, what about the pearl? Why did I tell this story? Because I think the kids are like you guys are like the pearl. You guys are awesome. You're beautiful, everything. And sometimes we get so caught up. Make sure you go to the right school. Make sure you do the right sport. Make sure you got the right clothes and all that stuff. When that's all important, but we need to concentrate on that pearl. And that's what I think DARE is about. Concentrate on the students and the children of this future. With that, I'm a little lonely up here. I think I need to go get somebody to help me, okay? Can you guys wait 1 minute while I go get somebody to help me up here? Because I'm kind of scared, I'm getting nervous. Let me go get them, okay? So this is Darren. I told you guys I'll bring Darren. He's a real good friend. He wanted to come all the way down here. Don't worry, he doesn't bite. He's not a wild animal or nothing. He's friendly. Okay, so part of DARE, at the very end, I did have one homework assignment, which I had them, they had to write an essay. And with that essay, they talk about DARE. Now, you guys know I'm a police officer. I am not a teacher at all. And if you guys see my case reports, like with Chief Land, he had a special red ink for my case report, where I had to fix all the time. So I don't grade it like a teacher. Spelling, grammar, punctuation, I don't look at that. I grade it a special way, which is really good. And I'm not going to tell you how I do it because you guys are going to tell your siblings and they're going to get their bonus points and stuff. No. But so, I do get to pick one essay from each class that I think hits all the points that I wanted, really got the message of DARE. Let you guys know, all of them was great. This was a great class to teach. Your kids was awesome to be. Not only was I excited to go there, but they were excited to see me. I did have to miss some of the class. This is the first year that my phone rang and they needed me somewhere real quick, or the school needed me. So we worked around that. I'm sorry about that. But so we did this essay, and I did get to pick one. And one I picked, you want to do that one first?
Yeah, I'll introduce it.
Okay. First one we picked was
Hayley Will. Come on down, Hayley.
So, what Hayley's going to do, she's going to come up here and she's going to share what she wrote on her essay.
Hi, I'm Hayley Will, and I'm going to tell you some things I learned in DARE. If you want to know, keep listening. One thing I learned in DARE is DARE decision-making model. The D stands for define, which means describe the problem, challenge, or opportunity. The A stands for assess, which means what are your choices. The R stands for respond, which means make a choice, use the facts and information you have gathered. The last one is E, which stands for evaluate, which means review your decisions. Did you make a good choice? Another thing I learned in DARE is resistance strategies. One is to avoid the situation, which means if you know of a place where people have often used drugs, stay away from those places. Another one is strength in numbers, which means hang around with non-users, especially where drugs use is expected. Another one is walking away, which means I found a cigarette in my mom's purse. Say no and walk away. Another one is saying no while having a reason or excuse, which means, would you like a beer? No thanks. My parents would ground me for life. Last one is changing the subject, which means I have some cigarettes. Have one? No. Let's play ball instead. The last thing I learned in DARE is making safe and responsible choices. Like if your friend had to do homework and he said, let's play video games, and you said no because you have to study. That is responsible choice. A safe choice is a friend says, hey, I found some beers in my house. Let's drink. A safe choice is to say no. That, in conclusion, that is what I learned from Officer Robinson in DARE.
Okay, next I will announce Block 1's medal winners, so please help me welcome Abigail Lawrence, Abigail, would you come get your medal, please? Abigail. Our second medal winner for Block 1 is Savannah Owens. Okay, I'll now introduce you to Block 1 students. Macy Adler, Savannah Allen, Maggie Ammons, Tavion Ashford, Joshua Benton, Zoe Berry, Rayana Bonnell, Ava Cantu, Brendan Caudill, Jaden Conley, Jeffrey Council, Aiden Joya, Janessa Gonzalez, Emily Knight, Trinity Lampkin, Abigail Lawrence, Dakota Lindsay, Savannah Owens, Carter Prindle, Orion Robbins, Madison Roth, Kendall Ruiz, Jackson Schartzer, Mason Shirley, Haley Stoltz, Valeria Visoso Salinas, and Hayley Will. Next, Ms. Bollinger will introduce you to Block 2 students.
The trophy winner for Block 2 is Mallory Miller Fogel.
It's not going to hurt you. Okay. All right. Nice and slow. Do you have a DARE officer? Well, I do. His name is Officer Robinson. I will be telling you what he has taught me and how I will use it in my life or just at school. In this paragraph, I will be talking about what I learned from my DARE officer. One thing I learned from my DARE officer is what bullying is. Imagine somebody purposely bumps into you once. Well, that person isn't a bully, the person is just mean. But if the person did it to you every day, it would make them a bully. Another thing I learned from Officer Robinson is what a bystander is. For instance, if somebody is getting bullied and you're just standing not doing anything, you are called a bystander. One other thing I learned from my DARE officer is to understand what a bully puts another person through. Like Officer Robinson told us about a girl who was being bullied, and she attempted suicide once, and then it didn't work, and she was bullied for that, and then she attempted suicide again, and she succeeded. These are some of the things that I learned from my DARE officer. In this paragraph, I'm going to be talking about how I use the DARE decision-making model. One way I use the DARE decision-making model is in our DARE book. For example, in the book it would give us problems, not math problems, but real-life problems. So we would have to use the DARE decision-making model. Another way I could use the DARE decision-making model is if I actually had a real-life crisis. Imagine you owned a bank and somebody robbed it. Well, first I would define my problem, then I would assess my choices. Next, I'll respond with a choice. Last, I will evaluate my decision. One last way you can use the DARE decision-making model is at school. For instance, if you found out that your friend was doing drugs, you should define, assess, respond, and evaluate. These are some of the ways these are the way I can use the DARE decision-making model. In this paragraph, I will be talking about how I plan to use what I've learned, safe and responsible choices. One way I plan to use what I learned is in my math word problems. For instance, if she gave me a problem that said, Sarah got bullied today, 20 people there, 7 started to help Sarah, how many people did it help? I would use the DARE decision-making model. Another way I will use what I learned is when I have a sibling problem. Let's say one of my brothers hit one of my other brothers. Well, I would use the DARE decision-making model. One last way I could use what I learned in DARE is when I'm trying to make a choice. Imagine your friend says, do you want to smoke? Well, you could use what you learned about smoking in DARE to help to make a pros and cons list. This is how I plan to use what I've learned in DARE. Well, I'm done telling you about DARE. Hope you experience some of the things. See you next time. By Mallory Miller.
Good job. Mallory. You want the trophy one? And the medal winners are Reed Mauser, Camden Elmore, and Julie Chambers. Yes, she goes by Riley. So Riley Bickett. Cameron Camp. Julie Chambers. Kevin Chavez. Philip Clan, excuse me. Braden Clark. Charles Klein. Thomas Cox. Etta Krebs. Jackson Edwards. Camden Elmore. Cannon Elmore. Kaylee Fuentes. Aiden Gray, Hannah Hall, Jocelyn Jackson, Jagger Martis, Jolena Matamoris, Mallory Miller Fogel, Reed Mauser, Mackenzie Otten, Jill Patel, Avery Perez, Braden Perry, Lyric Pollock, Maria Fernanda Ruiz Perez, Zoe Swain, and Andrea Wooten.
All right, our Block 3 essay winner is Noel Kim. Noel, if you'll come on down.
Hello, my name is Noel. I'm here to tell you about things I've learned in DARE. Some things I've learned are safe and responsible choices. Another one is reporting bullying. Lastly, risky situations. The first one is safe and responsible choices. I have learned that when you choose to do something, it is safe and responsible. One time I might not have followed that rule. What happened was I always liked cookie dough. It's good, right? But it wasn't cooked. But I really wanted cookies, so I had some cookie dough. I left my fingerprints and my dad saw it, and I was like 5 or so, but I got in trouble and I got grounded and my stomach hurt. One more thing is reporting bullying. You might not always want to let the bully see you, so you could tell someone you trust, like a teacher, a parent, or even a principal. You never know. All you have to do is leave an anonymous note on someone's desk, telling what happened, when, where, why. I know I would, because when I was about 3 years old, I fell and my tooth went through my lip and a mole was coming in, so I got bullied a lot. But when I turned 10, I got it removed. My last one is risky situations. When I have been in a lot. One is when you go on a road trip and don't use the bathroom, because I do not like gas stations. Another one is having surgery because you don't know, you might not like it. What happened? You might not like it. What happens? My last one is lighting a candle and dropping the lighter. Don't worry, everything was fine. All of those are some things I've learned at DARE with Mr. Robinson and DARE every Thursday. Thank you, Mr. Robinson.
And then our Block 3 medal winners are Anna Jaggers, Alyssa Wise, Adeline Murray, and Brady Gaither. All right. Jillian Bandy, Addison Borders, Bradley Burnett, Kylie Chesser, Riley Christ, Camden Kurtzinger, Zachary Ellis, Bo Fleming, Brady Gaither, Logan Hall, Lamarion Hendricks Glass, Stephen Humphrey, Anna Jaggers, Tyler Jarchow, Noel Kims, Abby Matamoras, Ava McGee, Cameron Morales, Adeline Murray, Brooklyn Perry, Madeline Riggs, Nolan Riggs, Landon Robertson, Bradley Stillwell, Nevaeh Tushka, Jeremiah Verrett, Wyatt Wachowski, Brendan Walter, Grace Wayman, and Alyssa Wise.
Okay, our Block 4 trophy winner is Lyza Dale.
This is my DARE report. Today, I will be writing about what I learned during DARE, how I've used the DARE decision-making model, and how I plan to use what I have learned to make safe and responsible choices. In this paragraph, I'm going to tell you what I learned during DARE. One thing I learned during DARE is to not mix alcohol and drugs. I know this because Mr. Robinson told us a story, and he said that a girl mixed alcohol and drugs and got sick and puked all over herself. It was bad. Another thing I learned from DARE is to talk confidently. I know this because Mr. Robinson showed us a video that showed a girl named Sophia not using her confident voice when she got laughed at and said shut up to her friends, so instead she used her demanding voice. My last thing I learned in DARE is to not text with strangers. I know this because Officer R told us about a girl that got cyberbullied because she was texting someone she didn't know. In conclusion, these are 3 things I learned during DARE. In my second paragraph, I'm writing about how I have used the DARE decision-making model. One way I've done this is by not sitting at a bad table at lunch. I did this so I wouldn't get in trouble for talking loud or not eating my food. Another way I've used DARE decision-making model is by not talking to my friends in the morning. If I did this, my consequence would be clipping down and not eating. My last way I've used the DARE decision-making model is by choosing to sit by someone I will talk with or sit at the table where I can be quiet in Miss Richardson's class. I made the decision by telling myself would I like to clip up a lot or get in trouble a lot, and I chose to clip up a lot. In conclusion, these are 3 ways that I have used the DARE decision-making model. In my last paragraph, I am writing about how I plan to use what I have learned to make safe and responsible choices. One way I plan to use what I have learned to be safe is by not using drugs. I know I won't use drugs because I will just do it because now will set a goal for me. Another way I plan to use this is by not texting strangers. I won't do this by not following anyone but who I know. My last way I plan to use this is by not punching or hurting anyone. I could do this by counting to 10 if I am angry. In conclusion, these are 3 ways how I'm planning to use what I have learned to be safe. These are my paragraphs on DARE. I really love DARE, so I hope you love my 5-paragraph essay.
And our medal winners are Run Katout, Alexa Jenkins, and Ciela Truman. Now for our certificates. Drennan Albers, Tanner Bratcher, Isabella Chilton, Stacy Christopher, Lyza Dale, Kaya Davis, Emmett Gossett, Alexa Jenkins, Run Katout, Caden Slane, Cooper McGowan, Ashley Morales Perez, Marissa Norton, Damon Paget is absent today, Cadence Powell, Hayden Rochester, Jack Settle, Tristan Schrouder, Jolie Sykes, Trayton Tarter, Serenity Taylor, Ciela Truman, Dominic Velmere, Kaylin White, and Thomas Williams. And now for fifth block.
I'm very pleased to introduce Addison James as the trophy winner from fifth block.
These past few weeks, I have been doing DARE. DARE stands for Define, Assess, Respond, and Evaluate. I loved DARE. One thing I loved most about DARE was hearing some of the stories you had. For example, the story about the lady that had an accident and you couldn't figure out what the smell was. Another story I heard and I liked was the one about Amanda Todd. I liked this story because it taught us about why being careful on the internet is important. It kind of scared us so that we would be careful. My last story is one on communication. I liked this story because some people like to joke around but don't realize that they are hurting other people's feelings. These were some of my favorite stories from DARE. In DARE, I also found how harmful people smoking and using alcohol can be. One was cigarettes. I know this because in just one cigarette smoke, there are 200 known harmful chemicals. Another thing that we studied was about tobacco. One thing I learned about tobacco was that tobacco can cause heart disease and upper respiratory problems. I also learned about alcohol. One thing I learned was there are at least 75,000 alcoholic-related deaths each year in the U.S. These are some things about drugs that I have learned. I also learned about communication. One thing I learned was it is important to be careful and not to make reactions that might make others feel bad. One way to do this is if someone is standing next to you and you start laughing and pointing, you might accidentally be hurting their feelings. Another way is making sure that you talk to someone, you make eye contact with them so that they know you are talking to them. These were some ways to communicate with people. Thank you, Mr. Robinson. DARE has been a good influence on me.
Medal winners: Tiana Black, There we go. Decker Thomas. Eric Serrano. And Deracia Ferry. Tiana Black. Christian Diaz, yes. Deracia Ferry. Landon Fitzu. Kylie Flatt. Kaylee Garrison. Paloma Ibanez. Addison James. Liliana Kidd. Michael Kyle. Victoria McClarity. Savannah McCoy. Cherish Preston. Aubrey Reel. Eric Serrano. Devin Strait is absent. Clayton Thomas. Decker Thomas. Jacob Townsend. Martin Yang. And Amanda Vasquez. At this time, I would please like the fifth graders to stand and take the drug-free pledge. Please repeat after me. I pledge to lead a drug-free life because I want to be healthy and happy. I will say no to alcohol, tobacco, and illegal drugs, and say yes to my own self-worth. I will encourage my friends to join me and stand up for what is right. Thank you. You may sit.
Before we wrap it up today, we wanted to give a special thank you to Officer Robinson. It has been a pleasure having you with us. We've really enjoyed it. We appreciate you sharing all your experiences and knowledge with our kids, and you've been a really positive influence on them, and we appreciate everything you've done for GC Burkhead and our community. So we've got a little gift for you, just a little token of our appreciation. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming. I appreciate it.
Hey, real quick, I do have to correct something that you were completely wrong on earlier. You misspoke when you were talking to the people about how you are not a teacher. Officer Robinson, anybody that works in this building, whether you get a paycheck from GC Burkhead or Central Hardin or you're a volunteer, you are part of our teacher family. Thank you for everything you've done for our kids. Parents, I hope it puts your mind at ease that 3 years from now, on your kid's first day of school, at Central Hardin, granted that he's still there, every one of your kids will know at least one adult face the very first day they walk into Central Hardin, and that's Officer Robinson. So thank you.